Hi, everybody. I'm meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Just want to go over this morning's model run. Kind of interesting last night because the models are looking like they want to do something a little transitional, at least later in the period, as is always the case. But first things first, as you can see, it does form next week this rather big storm that's probably going to mean for some big snows in the central Rockies and parts of the central plains. And you can see it here. It just lifts up to the Great Lakes, and we've got that big ridge that moves off toward the end of next week, which has been very consistent about this. But I just want you to notice what starts happening up here. You can see that the vortex that's up in Alaska, Siberia, that's been controlling the flow, just kind of shifts a little bit to the east and then gradually shifts a little bit more. There's another trough right before Thanksgiving that comes through. And then as we get toward the end of the period, it has a bit of a colder look up here. There's a blocking high that develops over Greenland, kind of has a broken flow that runs from Alaska down through northwest Canada into the Great Lakes. It's a colder look. It's not exceptionally cold. It maybe brings things to normal, which is a nice switch. The other thing I noticed, if we switch over to the European, and I'm just going to back away to the beginning here, and you can see our weekend trough lifts out, and then you get that snowstorm that forms down here in this southwestern system that comes on out, and then that lifts up. And as we move it along, there's another sharp trough there for next weekend. That's all part of that storm that lifts out of the southwest, and it moves on through. Again, though, watch what happens over in Canada. You can start to see a little bit of a change. And toward the end of the period, you've got this ridge that builds up in the Gulf of Alaska. You've got this ridge that builds up in the Atlantic to Greenland. And you've got some semblance here of a bit of a vortex split as these ridges try to build over the top. The big question, I guess, longer term is going to be whether this is something that's transient or is it something that is going to last for a little while. And that's going to depend on whether these ridges eventually just wind up breaking down and then the vortex pulls out, in which case we go back to what we had, and that this vortex back over Alaska, Siberia establishes itself or reestablishes itself, and we wind up with a deep trough in the west and a big ridge in the east. But it certainly is a little bit of a different look here. So we're going to monitor, see what the day runs do, and we'll update this afternoon.